Your violent crime rate overall.
Mr. Pratt.
The rapes, the muggings, the beatings.
Mr. Pratt, stop being sensational.
This is why home invasions are 10 times higher in Britain than they are in this country, because there's no private gun ownership. And as a consequence, you're much better off as a burglar burglarizing a home when the people are there. Their wallets are out, their keys are out. You can find out where the safe is.
I don't have an agenda. I just want to make America safer and save lives. That's my agenda.
You go to an area in the United States where guns are freely available, readily able to be carried legally. There you find our lowest murder rates, lower than the murder rates in Europe.
Chicago has very strict gun control and was the murder capital of the U.S. last year. Over 500 people were killed.
And people who want to make sure they can protect themselves. But there have been too many instances during the course of my presidency where I've had to comfort families who've lost somebody, most recently out in Aurora.
So it's okay if we kill them individually?
No,
You're saying,
let me make my
3,
position.
4, 5 a night's okay?
You're confusing two different things, though. You're lumping together the mass murderers, which are very, very rare, and the...
But mass shootings are escalating.
Yes, if your primary concern is saving lives,
Yes.
you'd have to look at pistols, because pistols are the primary killers, and they're the primary killers in big cities, all of which have gun control
But they are
laws.
not, as you know, and
none of which work.
as you know, the primary preferred weapon of mass shooters.
Handguns kill 6,000 people a year. Assault weapons kill 300.
Well, the AR-15, as we've now seen from the last 3 mass shootings in America, Aurora, the shopping mall in Oregon, and now at Sandy Hook School, is the preferred choice of weapon for disturbed young men.
When people carry a concealed firearm, one doesn't exactly know for sure. And the element of surprise remains with the person carrying concealed, which means that somebody contemplating doing something horrible doesn't know.
You want to cut down on public shootings. I mean, there's been one thorough examination of public multiple victim shootings in this country in all 50 states from 1977 to 1999. It was updated to 99 by William Landis at University of Chicago, John Lott then at Yale University. They looked at death penalty, they looked at extra penalties for committing a crime with a gun. The one public policy that had an effect that reduced the incidence of these shootings and the number of casualties was concealed carry permits. That was the one policy. If you care about children dying, if you care about innocent victims, you should be in favor of concealed carry. And you don't have to carry as long as you don't have these idiots at Journal News publishing who isn't there.
That's actually one of the most important things you can do, because concealed carry, first off, whenever concealed carry is implemented, like for instance Florida or
okay, but Dana, other than keeping guns,
that's a huge thing,
Dana,
Piers. Why you
Dana,
need to
other than
that.
keeping Dana. Other than keeping guns in people's hands, I've got your point on that. I don't have an agenda. I just want to make America safer and save lives. That's my agenda.
Portland. I was on your show that night, and we were all sitting in the green room saying, this is amazing. There are only 2 dead in a public at Christmas time. Well, that's because it was a gun-free shopping mall, but there was a man with a concealed carry. He apparently didn't see the sign, and he pointed his gun at the shooter, and the shooter went around the corner and killed himself.
Our jurisdictions that have easy access to concealed carry firearms enjoy lower murder rates than, say, the gun control mecca of Chicago, which does better than 1 murder a day. No.
You don't give a damn, do you, about the gun murder rate in America? You don't actually care. All you
It
care
seems
about
to me that
is the
facts
right
don't
for
bother
any
you, do
American.
they?
You know how many people got murdered with guns in Britain on average in the last 3 or 4 years?
England, and look from 96 on to see what happens to overall homicides. And it's very clear the huge increase.
You're from the UK. Why don't we just go with a full gun ban?
Well, listen, we've discussed this. The UK has 40, 50 gun murders a year.
Right, so why don't
America has 12,000. Why don't we try our way?
Because the problem occurs, sir, in those areas precisely where we have said no guns. The problem doesn't occur where the guns are allowed freely to be carried, to be used by people. There we have very low murder rates. We have lower murder rates in other parts of the country than even in Europe, than even where you come from. But what has created the problem in the United States is to say in cities and schools, those are areas where we're not going to allow people to defend themselves.
What is the murder rate in Great Britain for the last 3 years, you know, from guns?
If arming for self-protection worked, the United States would be the safest country in the world, and it's not.
The murder rate in Great Britain for the last 3 years, you know, from guns?
It's under 3 per 100,000, and in
No, just
Fairfax
give me-
County,
just
where
give me-
Gun
just
Owners
give-
of America
just
is
give me a
located,
number.
it is actually 0.3 per 100,000, about a tenth of what it is in your vaunted English bucolic countryside. The fact of the matter is, with guns comes safety if the guns are in the hands of the good guys. And when you say the good guys can have guns, the bad guys have a monopoly, and horrible things such as the shooting at the schools take place.
Frankly, in my hometown of Chicago, there's an awful lot of violence, and they're not using AK-47s, they're using cheap handguns.
Chicago has very strict gun control and was the murder capital of the U.S.
In Texas, we believe that we have a right to defend our life, our property, and the lives of a third party if we could help them.
Following a mass shooting in Australia, the country introduced gun control, and it worked.
It's become very, very obvious, even to Blind Freddy, that the expenditure of $500 million has done absolutely nothing to reduce crime.
It certainly didn't do what the government touted it would do, which was to reduce crime. It hasn't done that at all. In fact, there's been more.
Violent crime rate, your violent crime rate is higher than ours, as is the violent crime rate in Australia.
Like Australia, where they brought in strict gun control, the suicide rate involving guns plummeted.
Well, suicide rate involving guns, yes, but not suicides. Gun murders increased 19%. And a new phenomenon, home invasions jumped 21%.
Following a mass shooting in Australia, the country introduced gun control, and it worked.
Like the takeaway for you from this massacre at an elementary school is it's time to get rid of gun laws.
You don't give a damn, do you, about the gun murder rate in America? You don't actually care.
You see something bad that happens with a gun, the natural reaction is, well, if I just take guns away, bad things won't happen. Unfortunately, the world isn't quite that simple. I mean, one of the problems that you have is that when you go and you ban guns, for example, it's basically good, law-abiding citizens who obey the rules and not the criminals. And that's the reason why every place in the world, not just D.C. and Chicago in the United States, but the U.K. and Ireland and other countries that have banned guns have seen murder rates go up after the ban.